Prince Rogers Nelson, aka Prince, was an American artist, musician, singer, songwriter, and record producer. He was the recipient of numerous awards and nominations. He was widely regarded as one of the greatest musicians of his generation. He was a fearless artist who exposed the unfair practices in the music industry. All his honest opinions regarding the illegitimate matters inside the music industry caused serious problems for the higher-ups, thus making it, one way or the other, a threat to his life. Thus, the industry decided to banish him. Now the music industry has got a new target to accuse: Kanye West. He said, "Time like this, if I was on medication right now, one pill has been swapped out and it would be Michael Jackson and Prince all over again." Thus saying that they would have been exposing many more illegitimate matters in the industry. Guys, do you think what Kanye West said was true? Let me know in the comments. Kanye West has been very expressive regarding all the matters happening in the music industry and the greed that runs in the industry. Record producers and executives see artists and music as bait to consume all the money for them. They overwork these artists and consider them as their money magnet. Kanye West speaks exactly about this overwork and how it will affect each artist in the long run, and thus Prince's last words finally came into action. The production companies have the upper hand and control over the music industry. You considered this a monopoly, an unjust body in the music industry, owning the rights to the music the artist creates. They decide when and where the music should be played. Kanye tweeted this bitter truth publicly that unbalanced the equilibrium of all the music executives. He said, "When you sign a music deal, you sign away your rights. Without the masters, you can't do anything with your music. Someone else controls where it's played and when it's played. Artists have nothing except fame, touring, and merch." Kanye also said that it is also the artist's problem to fall into the same trap several times and wants to rip them off. He said that the artists are only filling the pockets of people about them. He said, "We've gotten comfortable with not having what we deserve." He continued to allow us to have a little money from touring, get some gold chains, some alcohol, some girls, and fake numbers that feed our egos, but we don't own our masters. Kanye even pointed out in his interviews how ridiculous it is that the music companies get full control over these artists. He said, "Currently, artists take advance payments to make records. And yet with those advances, the record company still owns the records. Imagine a bank lending you money to buy a house, and then when you repay the mortgage, they tell you that they still own it." Kanye knew no one in the industry was willing to stand against this dreadful mafia. So it was only in his hands to try and bring the change he wanted to witness. But this whole situation goes wrong to the worst, thus making him in the bad books of the music industry and the higher-ups, including some of the most powerful teams in the industry, such as Universal Studios. He saw this battle as a revolution, a revolutionary change that could bring balance and justice to forthcoming artists and put an end to this injustice. Believe it or not, everything that Kanye's been saying to the public has been said before by none other than the legend Prince himself. Prince's words prove that Kanye isn't some crazy person speaking of conspiracy theories, but an artist who is suffering at the hands of these music executives and fighting for justice and revolution from this injustice. Similarly, Prince wasn't afraid to talk about how the labels were stealing money from him. At one point in his career, he stopped relying on the companies to record his album and would do it himself from his own studio. But this sudden change from him was really unacceptable for the music companies. They only wanted the money, which the profit Prince made out of his own efforts. He said they would always hold this contract you signed. "I understand that it's not like I want to leave. I just want to talk about this thing and see if we can make it fairer." Of course, they would change because if they've changed, they wouldn't really exist. That's the kind of the situation right today. But these companies made him sign unfair terms and conditions with respect to the situation in which he was forced to give most of his profits to music companies even though he would do all the work himself. He said, "Industry was recording the albums myself. So the way I looked at it, I owned the work because I paid, and I did all for God created it. So I felt like it should belong to me," that said the companies otherwise. Prince wanted the system to change, just not for his own sake but also for everyone. The current system was feeding on these helpless artists and was abusing every single artist out there. And the only way out was to fight it. Kanye is screaming with truth from the top of his voice that artists are just puppets and that the music executives pulled the string according to their own selfishness and used them to make their own money. Once these music executives drained all their sweat and efforts from the artists, the music executives will discard them without a second thought. As truth travels faster and farther, seeking the help of the rumors, they don't care about these artists. And they aren't afraid to get their hands bloody by these music companies. They are just here for the money. Many lives of black artists are gone, but not the music executives. Prince saw this problem, and the only way to solve or end this problem was to speak out to the public about this injustice. People initially thought he was a crazy weirdo, but as time passed by, people thought the way Prince did. Jay-Z said he was fighting for the masters the whole time. He was fighting for freedom the whole time. Prince wanted to dismantle the system completely, but Kanye only wanted to reform it. There was the difference between them. Seems that this was too greedy to ask for in this selfish, greedy system. Speaking about it came out at a huge cost that the industry's hierarchy would fall apart. So the music executives found the only solution was to silence Prince's voice once and for all. And sadly, their plans came into action, and Prince was dead. Prince suddenly died after a fentanyl overdose. The interesting fact about it was Prince wasn't a drug addict, and these drugs came from counterfeit pills that weren't even prescribed to him. The prosecutor told the media that it was a very unusual case. In all likelihood, Prince had no idea he was taking a counterfeit pill that could kill him and all others around. Prince also likely did not know that the pills for counterfeit contained fentanyl. The death of Prince and the fight for freedom and justice towards it gave ground for more questions to be asked. Was his death really silenced by the voice of greedy music executives? Before the death of Prince, he left some very cryptic messages saying in his last post before passing had the caption, "Just when you thought you were safe." But when he passed away, he thought it was the right time for it. And more interestingly, during his last appearance, he told fans to wait a few days before you waste your prayers on me. As time passed and a new face of justice came via Kanye, that man is being painted as a bizarre man when in reality, he's only trying to get a fair share out of his music and even knows the price of truth. Kanye has repeatedly been saying that black artists are being murdered and that Prince's death is similar to these deaths. Kanye has been extra careful regarding his life and doesn't want the worst experiences to happen to him, previously experienced by Prince and Michael Jackson. The music companies even tried to get him on lithium, but he refused the medication. He knows the mafia he's up against that has eliminated iconic pop stars like Michael Jackson and Prince, and they won't hesitate to do the same to him. People are also finally seeing the truth used to be that Prince's activism and fight for the truth. There are still many unknown struggles faced by many artists all over the world. These are just one of many cases that were pointed out to the public and thus known to us. Let's hope this kind of injustice gets eliminated quickly. So that's it, guys. To see more content similar to these, do let us know your opinions in our comment section. Don't forget to hit the like button as well as subscribe to our channel and turn on the post notifications so that you will get notified whenever we post new content. Keep watching our other videos and share them with your buddies, and we will see you guys in the next one. Goodbye!